Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday to you all. Hope you guys are doing well. I don't really have much in the way of plans for today, but I wanted to stream, and honestly, I just wanted to take my mind off of all of the crazy stuff that's going on. Zep, I'm so sorry, I forgot to start it. I'm starting it now. Yeah, it's been one of those days where, I don't want to talk about the stuff that's happening or happened too much, other than just one of those crazy things where I feel like I really get sucked in is not the right word, but just like obsessed with watching things over and over for no real reason, just out of curiosity and just like moments in history, Anyway, you don't know what I'm talking about, then never mind, but I'm sure most people know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I've kind of been doing like nothing but that, and so I just needed to take my mind off of things. I made a rifle, which I'm really proud of. This took longer than it should have. Honestly, it wasn't that long. Probably about 4 hours total. But I'm really proud of it. I think it looks really good. There's tons of ingons. I still don't really understand if that's good or bad. I mean, if it's okay. But I think it's fine. We're not animating anything. It's not on curved surfaces. It's mainly just things like this. I've gone back and forth so much between doing things like sub-D modeling, subdivision modeling, versus doing booleans and stuff like that. And I'm still kind of torn on it, because I do think that the subdivision method works really well and looks really nice, but it just gets so crazy high polygon count, and I still don't really understand like what is good and what is bad with that. I don't know. I think that's just going to be one of those things that I just have to learn as I go, and like, I think it's also, it seems to be something that like a lot of people put a lot of thought into, but maybe doesn't quite really need that much thought these days. Because we have things like Unreal Engine with Nanite that can handle crazy amounts of polys. But I don't know. I mean, obviously it's still good to try and keep things optimized, right? Thank you, buddy. Yeah, you can see the picture that I was my reference back there. I had some other pictures in here for reference. I had a top and bottom and the other side. I just took those out. The only thing I didn't do is I didn't model this side over here because I couldn't really see it very well, but it obviously needs like an ejection port area. Oh, I just realized I also don't have these. Throw a quick mirror on there. Oh, nose. How are you guys doing today? Let's see. Let's join those. Also got a new keyboard. Not necessarily because I wanted to, but my old keyboard, some of the keys were just not working, and it was getting really, really frustrating. Primarily like the Alt key and the Control key and the C key. Like a lot of the keys that I use a lot in Unreal Engines, especially like Alt, because I'm constantly doing like Alt 3, Alt 4, and then Control as well. So I had to get a new keyboard. I got the... I don't even know what this is. It's the Logitech G something. But I do like it. Yeah, I really don't know what we're going to do today. Oh, I also realized I don't have this on the other side. I do need this. And that. That's all one piece. We can mirror that. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I honestly don't really want to talk about it. I've been literally reading about it and watching stuff all day and or all night, I should say. Nothing really wrong with talking about it. I just am like been obsessing about it too much and need to get my mind off of it. Okay. How can I do this? I mean, we could just do a Boolean. That won't work. Tomorrow, I'm excited that I'm going to be starting Gears of War with the Celis. That's going to be fun. I am looking forward to that. I always forget where screenshots are. I need to make like a little pin. Searches, no. Darn. Where are they stored? Pictures? There they are. Okay. It's kind of hard to see. It looks like... It literally just looks like a cutout right there. With one of these things. I also started to realize that it's okay to have separate pieces. I think I was trying to keep like everything one piece as much as I could, and that gets very hard to do. All right, so okay, what if we do this? And then merge these. And then merge these. Hello, Steve. As many separate pieces as possible is good. Really? Is that's better than having like all one piece? SX 0, that's not what I want. SZ0, nope. SY0. Why is that not working? SX0, there we go. And let's just make sure that is straight. And then I want to make sure that is straight, except that'll be Z0, SZ0. Now, that'll do. How are you doing, Steve? Okay. But see, now we have like really long, thin triangles. I feel like that's bad. Wait, what just happened? Where did my rectangle go? What? Oh, what kind of gun were you modeling? I don't know what happened. Do it again. Oops. Okay, merge. Merge those. That didn't work. Now we do SX 0. That should be straight, but just to be sure. SZ 0. SZ 0. A sledgehammer inspired by the makeshift one from Dead Islands 2. Wait, I thought... I must have read that wrong. Oh, you said weapon. For some reason I thought weapon and I just thought gun. Gotcha. I think that's pretty good. What we could do... maybe make that just a little bit bigger. Don't want to change the Y. And then I'll inset this just a smidge. Actually, I didn't really need to inset it. But whatnot. Although this is probably good because I feel like this should be a little rounded. Oh yeah. I don't even know what it's supposed to look like, but I like that. All right. I feel like this looks really good. I want to put some text on it. It's probably a little high poly. I mean, 40,000 triangles. No, 21,000. It's not too bad, right? There's a lot going on there. The G36 was one of my favorite rifles because of the original Far Cry. That's what I should have modeled. I don't even know if that was a G36 in the original Far Cry. I think it was supposed to be. Let's see. Here's what the wiki has to say. It was the AG-36, of course, in assault rifle in Far Cry. One of the 3 assault rifles in the game. The AG-36 is the next step up from the M4 in terms of performance, a similar stopping power. Also, the original Stalker had a really good G-36 as well. I don't know if they called it. Oh yeah, it was GP37, of course. I don't understand. Somebody explain to me why you can't use the names of guns and weapons in games. It's like they do it in movies. So I don't understand why you can't do it in games. I'm so excited for Stalker 2. I still think it's gonna get delayed. Like, I will not believe that it is actually out until I am literally playing it. Has it gone gold yet? I don't think so. Good gracious, 10 months ago. It was confirmed to be content complete, is now in polishing state. Gracious. Let me save this. I don't think I've seen this trailer. I haven't really watched much at all from Stalker 2. They've been ramping up the sneak peeks.
Скіфе, радий тебе бачити, друже. Валимо звідси.
In-game footage.
Ви тільки погляньте на це. Край, чарівний край черемоша і прута. Ти моя любов.
This is how I remember the original Stalker looking.
Жива.
I know it didn't look nearly this good though, but I swear the original Stalker still looks so good, especially the atmosphere. Wow, that lighting looks really good. What was that? That lighting looks really nice. Yeah, it did have so many loading screens. They're like very random loading screens. So they switched to UE5, didn't they? As much as I love Unreal Engine, it kind of makes me sad that so many developers switched to, like, you know, AAA developers switched to UE5 and abandoned their engines, because the Stalker engine was really incredible. Did Chernobylite use scans? Look at it! There it is! The GP37. That's what I should have modeled. Now I gotta start over. I remember this was one of the cut content, or some of the cut content from the original Stalker. They were supposed to have tornadoes, and they took it out. And I'm pretty sure that there's a mod that puts them back in. They went to Chernobyl and scanned the place. They did that in the original Stalker as well. I'm sure I could still find it. Making of. Let's see. I have my copy of Stalker has like the making of documentary. It was really interesting. I always enjoyed watching it. I think this is part of it. It's like 30 minutes.
Through the adjacent forest town of Pripyat.
And it shows them going and visiting, and they took a bunch of pictures. Yeah, these were all like reference pictures. That, oh my goodness, this is 240p.
Very impressive, very unique ones. And these photos we used as textures.
Yeah, there you go. Those photos they used as textures.
They would photo a building in Chernobyl or like a little.
That has to be. When did like photo scanning become a thing? That has to be pretty new. 2007. Stalker 2's budget? I don't know. We can look and see.
And they would like.
I remember watching this. First of all, I remember I didn't really know anything about Chernobyl before I played this game, and this game got me really interested in Chernobyl, which I'm sure it did a lot of other people as well, which is kind of weird, like to learn about such a huge event through a video game, but that's also really cool, I think.
Take very detailed photos that can be used as textures.
Now a lot of people probably have learned about it through the TV show, which is fantastic.
Real textures from Chernobyl, from those villages, from those buildings, which make the atmosphere really authentic in a way.
Yeah, they did such a good job with like the peeling paint textures and some of those like the I have a really hard time saying that word. Murals. That sounds wrong. You know what I mean? They took I don't think that they recreated those. I think those were just like straight up textures that they
inside the houses and
created.
Inside those blocks of flats.
Yeah, that's real footage. That's what Stalker 2 looks like now.
1986, lying on the floor, lots of trash there. And we went to those, it's like back to you.
Did they have well, I'm sure they had, well, I don't know. When did 3D scanning become a thing? I don't think they did 3D scans. I really don't know if they had the technology to do that back then. Not for like...
And since then, we've got lots of support from even the officials.
Like portable, I guess.
The Chernobyl power plant, they helped us out with documentaries, with information. We remodeled the sarcophagus in the game, and we created a pretty much realistic and very sophisticated 3D model of that. The idea of us actually putting this main character, the player, into a hostile world and make him to create a different kind of perception of gameplay, not very standard for an FPS game, since you're not like a god there to kill pretty much everyone, but you're very vulnerable and you're just an element of that world.
Is this guy still there? I don't remember this guy's name, but he was like the director, I think, right? Wait, I can't tell if that's him. Hello, Ozzy. Welcome. ChatGPT says the first game to use 3D scans was Mortal Kombat 4, released in '97. marked a significant technological leap for the Mortal Kombat series and the game industry as a whole. It utilized 3D scanning technology to create more realistic. Yeah, that's for characters. Which, I mean, that I would have said like late 90s. That's pretty close. So, did Chernobylite actually do like 3D scans? Oh wait, they're both named Anton. That's kind of confusing. Oh wait, I guess I could literally just look and see on Stalker 2. Who is the director? Do we know who the director is? That's kind of weird. I would be kind of surprised if it is the same person because I'm pretty sure that they split and I think like they even went out of business. The Getaway game. Oh, interesting. You played Chernobylite, Ozzy? Was surprised anyone else has heard of it. Oh, yeah. Well, so I was talking about before you came in, or we've been talking a little bit about Stalker, the Stalker games, and the original Stalker, which I love the original Stalker game. Still one of my favorite games. Like the especially like the underground areas, it is just one of the most atmospheric games around. Like this still looks so good. Particularly the lighting. I was always amazed at the lighting. Oh, and the sounds. This video is kind of awful because it's like really bad quality. But this was really impressive back then. And honestly still looks pretty good nowadays. But yeah, anyway, Chernobylite. I know about Chernobylite because I think most people that know about Chernobylite know about it because they played this game or, you know, had an interest in this game and it was like, oh, another game that's kind of like Stalker? I'll play that. I didn't get very far in Chernobylite though. I always wanted to go back. Wonder what they kept and changed in the new one. Yeah, I mean, I know nothing about the story. So I'm curious, like, wow. Like, the story in the first one was really weird. I don't really remember how it ended. And then I think Clear Sky was a prequel, right? And I don't remember how that one ended either. I'm not even positive that I finished Clear Sky. I definitely finished Shadow of Chernobyl. And then Call of Pripyat, I didn't play that much. I definitely didn't finish that one. I think I might have finished Clear Sky, but I really don't remember it. Oh man, I have flashbacks like PTSD to that slow walk that you would do when you got really injured. Oh, I died so many times. Especially in this area. This area was really rough. Lots and lots of quick saving. Well, I have never even heard of Fossil Fuel 2, I don't think. Every time you tried to play it, they changed something or removed something from Chernobylite because it was still... Oh, yeah. See, that's why I don't like early access. Or I should say I don't like playing early access games. For the most part. So what was I gonna look up? Oh yeah, the Getaway. When did the Getaway come out? You guys hear that there's a new driver game? Possibly. I don't even remember where I read this. I think it was on Reddit, which is totally legit, I'm sure. But that would be so awesome if they were making another driver game. So that came out in 2002. It's on the internet. It must be true. Exactly. Okay, here we go. This was 21 hours ago.
Didn't have this on my bingo card for 2024. The Driver franchise is not dead. We are getting more stuff, and that makes me so bloody happy. Most of you probably don't know this, but Driver is my favorite game series of all time. I started doing YouTube back in the day in 2010, making car chase videos. As an example, here's a clip of me 15 years ago looking at my favorite glitch in Driver 1. Now, watch this. Okay.
I only ever played Driver San Francisco.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
No clip.
You can actually stay in here, stay away from the cops, anything else.
What in the world?
The only way to get out of here is
but I really liked it. And there's no way to play that game now. Like, it's taken off of online services, which really stinks.
I thought the series was completely done. But no, Ubisoft has confirmed that it's not. Ubisoft has told VGS, we are actively working on other exciting projects related to the franchise and can't wait to share more information in the future. Now, this comes off the back of apparently there being a TV show in development. I didn't know about this, but it looks like that has been possibly scrapped. I don't mind. All I want is the game. That's all I really care about. Now, my favorite driver, for those asking, because there's at least one of you, is Driver Parallel Lines, and then Driver 1, and then Driver 3. Driver 3 gets such a bad rap. I really like that game. And to be honest, I wasn't that big on San Francisco. It was a great game, but it just wasn't Driver to me. So I'm hoping we go back to the more grounded world of something like Driver Parallel Lines. Even though that didn't have Tanner in it, I still absolutely adored the car.
Did anyone else ever play the Driver games? All right, Fossil Fuel 2. Is this it, Ozzy? They have a demo. Wait. I think I did play the demo of this. I think I even talked to the developer that made this. I think I played the demo and it was pretty janky. But I think I played the demo. Oh yeah, Dangerous Pop. Yeah, I did talk to the developer that made this. I think he even uses the same system that I'm using for House of Lies. like the base of it. That was how I found him. And yeah, I do remember playing this. It was very janky. But I played it right when it first came out, and so I think he's updated it quite a bit. It looks like it's done pretty good. I mean, it's gotten 83 reviews, and it's sitting at an 83% positive. 83 reviews, that's really good for an indie game. Like a small, probably one-man person. By my calculations, 1 to 5%. So that could be like 8,000 copies? No, 800 copies. No, 8,000. Yeah. 8,000 to whatever 5% would be. But yeah, probably like 5 to 10,000 copies sold at roughly $20. What is that? Man, I would love to sell that. Or sell those numbers. 20 times... So hard to do this on. I want to use my numpad, but then it messes the stream up. Times, let's say they sold 8,000 copies. What is that? $160,000 times 0.7 for the Steam cut brings you down to 112,000. And then times 0.7 for taxes, 78,000. It's not bad. I didn't finish Limerick. No, I feel bad because I have like just not finished so many games. I still haven't finished. I really need to go back to Alan Wake 2. Like I really want to finish that. I'm going to finish that. And there's even DLC out for that now, which I really want to play, and I am gonna play. I mean, I know I stopped playing that because I ran into that game-breaking bug. I'm almost positive that it's been fixed now. Yeah, I definitely need to go back to that. What have you been playing lately, Ozzy? Have you been playing anything? What do we have? Top 25 new games of 2024 second half. How many of these are actually coming out this year? Or do they just put it on the list to make it look good?
So we're rounding the corner on the second half of 2024. We're rounding up 25 of the best upcoming games for the remainder of 2024. Now, keep in mind, there are more than 25. We couldn't fit them all here. And also, release dates are subject to change. Video games are always delayed. But we're trying our best here, so let's get started.
Dead Rising. Oh, I'm
games.
so excited to play Dead Rising.
The Thing Remastered is a game that we're really looking forward to. Remasters, remakes come and
this
go.
Does look pretty good. I've got to admit, I would like to try this
Thing game. From the early 2000s, based off of the famous John Carpenter sci-fi horror movie. This game is incredible. The way it managed to take the elements of the film and make it into a game was really compelling. It was tense.
Oh man,
it was challenging,
I hope that goes well for you, Ozzy, and you can get back to normal a little bit
without feeling like a piece of crap. So we're excited to see this remastered, cleaned up with some quality of life improvements for a new age. I mean, I feel like at this point there's a whole new generation of fans of the Thing film, so this is just a win-win. As of right now, it doesn't have a release date locked down, but it is expected for 2024. Now, next over at number 24, we have Dragon Age: The Veilguard. That's
not coming out this year.
No longer Dragon Age Dreadwolf. It's Dragon Age.
I really don't think this is coming out this year.
Dragon Age with a lot of crazy visuals, cool, compelling characters, romanceable characters.
But maybe I'll be wrong.
RPG character-based storylines, and basically what Dragon Age fans are expecting.
They need to hurry up and announce a date if it's actually going to come out this year.
But we know that it's BioWare once again.
I just read that that guy is going to be voiced by Chris Pratt. I think if I read it right. I think Chris Pratt is voicing
once
him.
again, and I'm really hoping that this is the thing that turns things around for BioWare. I mean, their last game was Anthem. The one before that was Mass Effect Andromeda. So it's time for BioWare to kick ass in the RPG department.
Yeah, according to this person, did they actually say it here? Oh yeah, BioWare is announcing. I don't actually see Chris Pratt. I don't really know where they're getting that from. Am I missing it? I don't see Chris Pratt anywhere on here, but apparently it's Chris Pratt because people are saying that. That's interesting.
Again, I'm really hoping this is the one. As of right now, no release date, but this one has been long in the works, and it is expected to release now in 2024. Next, over at number 23, we have Astrobot. Oh man,
Astrobot. Oh, this looks so good too.
Astrobot, you don't know what you're missing.
Oh man,
this is a sequel to
it's
that.
so hot here, Aussie.
Action platformer.
I hate the hot weather so much.
Accessible, good, goofy, fun time. Like the old video game days, you know, before we all got so serious. That bite-sized adventure that came with the PS5 was absolutely awesome, but this looks to be a full-fledged game.
This looks
the developers have said
so good.
It is massively expanded in scope, but it's continuing
really,
the vibes
really good
of that game. You know, a celebration of the legacy of PlayStation, referencing characters, hardware, stuff like that, but with a lot more environments, things to do, presumably more challenges. This game is probably going to be good for all ages. If the last game is any indication, it has the fun platforming action, but also some challenging levels and stuff you could really get pretty sweaty on, and collectathon stuff. So
no, I don't want to get
as of
sweaty.
right now, we are expecting Astrobot to release with no delays September 6th, 2024. Next, over at number 22, we have The Alters. This is a really
this game I am so excited for. This may be maybe my most anticipated game for the rest of the year. Like, I'm really excited for Stalker. But this game, I played just a little bit of the demo, and like I was just immediately sold on it. This is such a unique and fun idea for a game.
Planet in a kind of space station. You know, you can venture out into the planet to do certain things, but the game is centered around creating alternate versions of yourself, like kind of like doubles of yourself to eventually.
Yeah, I'm very excited for Silent Hill 2 remake. But this game just is so
narrative, storytelling
different
stuff, adventure,
that
building,
it
survival gameplay.
just makes me
I'm
really
just
excited, you know?
To see how it goes from a storytelling standpoint. The character stuff they have here could be really interesting. Just a little bit of a different sci-fi hook. I feel like at this point we've seen almost everything from a sci-fi setting, you know, man trapped on foreign space planet, but they could really do something unique here. So far, early impressions are pretty good. It's not going to be a game for everyone, but for like the thinking man, this could be really, really cool.
The thinking man,
right
that's
now,
me.
There is a demo available that some people are really enjoying, and the full release is planned for 2024. Next, over at number 21, we have Kingmakers, or what I would like to call Jake's ideal game. This is right up my alley, man. You've probably seen the trailers go viral for this at this point.
Have I seen this?
Medieval war style game, but instead of dealing with units and tactics, you're
You
just
have
a guy with
guns?
a gun and sometimes a truck. It seems like there's going to be
This
a lot
looks
more
silly.
shootout, but just the moment.
I'm sorry, it's
Indiana
not for me.
Jones and the Great Circle.
Do you guys think this game is going to come out this year? Indiana Jones?
This is from Xbox and Machine
I am
Games,
very excited
the
for
people
this.
behind
It
the
looks
Wolfenstein
really
games. I
good,
know
and I
they're known
really
for
do
their
like
first-person
Indiana Jones.
shooting, and this is gonna
I
be a
like
first-person
classic
Indiana
Indiana
game,
Jones,
which is definitely
original
a
trilogy
unique
Indiana
choice that I
Jones,
think is going to divide
not the new
fan base,
stuff.
But I think Machine Games really knows adventure and storytelling, cinematic storytelling, and it seems like they're doing that with Indiana Jones. We've gotten to see full glimpses of cutscenes of this game, and honestly, it looks like a great return to classic indie fashion. It's not Harrison Ford, because honestly, he probably costs $1 trillion to get in the game, so they got Troy Baker, and
I
Troy
think it
Baker's
will,
doing a really
Steve.
good job replicating Harrison Ford's classic
both of
voice.
the
I'm just curious to see how the game
Wolfenstein
is gonna play.
games,
You know, it
they
seems
were
like a lot of
pretty
fisticuffs,
lengthy.
some whip stuff,
I feel like
some
they were like
ancient
15 to
puzzle
20
solving,
hours.
makes
I would
sense for
expect this to
Indiana
be
Jones, but believe it or not,
easily that
Indiana
long.
Jones way back when had a really steady slate of kick-ass games under his belt. So here's hoping the Great Circle can really join that roster. No exact release date yet, but we know it is very much releasing in 2024.
Do we though?
Now, next over at number 19, we have
I could see that
Avowed.
getting
This is
pushed.
another Xbox joint, and this is from developers Obsidian, the famous developers behind all kinds of stuff. Fallout New Vegas, more recently,
am
The Outer
so
Worlds. If you
torn
ask
on
me,
this
I've always
game.
said this, Obsidian knows how to make RPGs, specifically from the questing, the writing, the character stuff. That's always really worked. And now they're going out with this, Avowed, with the ability to build your own class, wield all kinds of different weapons, and go on an adventure. I'm still waiting to see more of this one, because the last couple of things I've seen, I don't know. I don't really know what the exact main hook is yet, other than that, hey, it's an Obsidian RPG. Honestly,
I don't
it's still
know.
kind of
I
enough for me to
wish
be
I was
curious.
excited
So,
for this,
as
but
of right now, this is releasing on Xbox Series X and S and PC.
I
It
don't
seems
know.
like fall of 2024.
we'll have to
Now,
see.
next over at number 18, we have Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2.
Is this
game's
game
been in the
coming
works
out?
For many, many years.
I feel like I
Had
keep
some
saying that about all of
development issues,
these.
Switching developers. Now it's the Chinese room working on the game. We've gotten some glimpses of gameplay now, finally. It definitely seems like a different game, but it's, you know, a thing. And it seems like it's coming out. It has been slated for 2024. To be honest, I'll believe it when I see it, but
Yeah,
either
me
way,
too,
I welcome
Jake.
more vampire games in this world. I've always said this. I know I sound like a broken record at this point, but we just don't have enough of these
2027.
types of games. So without any delays or anything like that, hopefully this is the year we finally see
Yeah, I
it.
can't imagine this
Next
game
over at
would
number
get
17, We
delayed.
have Black Myth Wukong. This is the Chinese
This game I'm
developed
excited
Souls-like
about.
game based on the classical Chinese novel Journey to the West. Now, the main thing here are the graphics. From the beginning, everybody has really been blown away by like the visual
I'm a little
style,
worried that the
character
gameplay's
designs,
not
the boss
going to
designs, but on the
be
gameplay
great in
front,
this
it looks
game.
like a crazy, over-the-top, challenging Souls-like game. But it seems like it's going to be relatively simple. Judging from more recent previews, it's
Man,
going to be
I really wanna
fairly
play Stellar
linear and
Blade. I wish it
mostly
was
centered around fighting
cheaper.
bosses, kind of like a boss rush adventure. And we're totally in for
Hi,
it.
Minish.
If they
You think
can
it'll be a
keep it
walking
paced and
sim?
interesting and make it feel like a true lengthy adventure, plus with the unique spin of it being based on a classical
Welcome in,
novel,
Minish.
I think there's a lot of potential for this one to kick ass. As of right now, we know it's releasing on the platforms August
It's
20th.
coming out soon. Yeah,
Next over at number
August.
16, we have
Next
Flintlock,
month.
The Siege of Dawn. I don't really know quite what to make of this one, but it looks like a cool kind of RPG style
Oh,
adventure
yeah.
with God
There was a
of War
demo for
style
this game, and I
combat. Very
didn't
much
play
about
it.
racking up combos, whipping enemies up into the air.
This game
juggling
feels
them,
like
using the
Greedfall
environment,
to me.
Using various weapons
like-
to your advantage. In a kind of
Actually, is it
unique
made by the?
fantasy
I think
setting.
it might be
The world,
made by the
character
developers of
designs
Greedfall.
look a little different, and I'm curious to see what they've got cooked up with this one. This is releasing for all the major platforms July 18th, 2024. Now, next over at number 15, we have Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. Yes, we're getting another re-release of the classic
it's not.
Capcom Dead
Oh,
Rising.
yeah, Steel
the original
Rising
one
was
that
the
started it all.
last
But
game that
this
they
time,
made.
It's not just another.
Anyway,
up-res
it just
to
feels
4K or
like one of
something
those
that.
types of games,
It's a
like,
quote-unquote
very
deluxe
double A,
remaster.
might be good,
That's what they're
might
calling
be
it.
just
It
okay.
looks like the visuals are completely overhauled and remade.
Very excited for
beautiful
this.
environments, better
Except I'm just
character
not
models. It's got a pretty
super
different
pumped
look
that
to it,
it's
but apparently it's
$50.
gonna play the same. And that's important because with Dead Rising, the gameplay was really everything. It was incredibly unique and still is to this day. It's quite challenging. I actually think some people don't really know what they're in for if they're jumping into this thing for the first time. But either way, I'm excited to go back to that mall September 9th, 2024. Next, over at number 14, we have Concord. This seems to be like
Nobody
Sony's
cares about
answer
Concord.
to Overwatch, where Overwatch is any
Actually, I've heard it's
Seeing what-
pretty good if you like
Next
these
at
kind of
number
games, but
13, we have Stalker 2.
not for
Heart of
me.
Trauma.
Yeah,
This
Stalker
one's been a long time
2.
coming. It's been in the works for many, many years. Delayed
I
because
know.
of war and other reasons.
I
but
wish they would
also,
give me a
it's been a long
discount.
time since a mainline Stalker game. The
Or
original games
give
have
us
just
a
recently been
discount.
ported to the newer consoles and stuff, but this is a classic PC game through and through. And this new one is continuing that. You're surviving in a post-nuclear Fallout wasteland, but it's a little bit different than a Fallout or similar things. It's harsh, it's unforgiving, it's about dealing with scientific anomalies and people, and we're excited to see how this one's going to turn out. Is it going to take it to the next level or feel kind of old school like the original games? We don't know for sure, but this game just
I
looks
hope
like a
it's
breath
kind of in the
fresh air,
middle.
especially for some
Like, I
players.
hope it
Every
retains
single
some
bullet
of
counts.
the-
You're constantly scrounging for
the
resources
jank
in this
and
unforgiving
the
land.
old
You can't trust
schoolness
anybody,
of the
you can't really
original,
trust anything
but
because
also
there's
gives
weird
us like
creatures
some
out
new
there.
kind of
Stalker
polish
2,
and
seems like it's going to keep people busy.
Intrigue.
And pending any other delays, this is finally releasing on Xbox Series X and S and PC September 5th. Now, next over at number 12, we have Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. I'm personally really looking forward to this one.
Real
I'm not
life
even a
stalker
Warhammer
experience.
40K
Oh,
fan.
goodness.
I just like the Space Marine games. They're really cool.
That
And this
reminds
one
me,
looks
I
like
need to
it's
get that
stepping
back
it
to
up.
Pacific
Massive
Drive.
amounts of enemies on screen at once to slaughter. Great
I
blood and gore effects.
keep forgetting
just
this game has
full
not come
big
out yet.
Space Marine power fantasy, cool weapons, but also
I think the problem
seemingly
is
tons
there
of
are so
cooperative play. They've
many
been showing a lot more
Warhammer
gameplay of This
games
one recently, and it is shaping up to be pretty
that
awesome.
this
Of course,
almost
we don't
doesn't
know
really
for
feel
sure
that
until we
special,
actually
but
get
I
our
think it
hands on
is
the
going to
game,
be
but we're
really, really
hoping that They
big,
stick the landing with this one, 'cause
and
the
it will
potential
probably be
is
really
there.
good.
As of right now, it is releasing on all the platforms September
Warhammer
9th.
40k, never heard of it.
Next over at number 11, we have Call of Duty Black Ops 6.
Yes.
Yep, you guessed it. They're making
I
another one. But
am
what I'm happy to
ashamed
see is
at
that
how
they're
excited
sticking with
I
the
am for
campaign.
this
It
game.
looks like Black Ops 6 is going to have
Oh.
a full-fledged and kind of
I just
zany
love Call of
campaign.
Duty
The Black Ops
games.
campaigns, since the original, are a bit more out there, a bit more experimental. They try something with their storytelling.
I
other than
really,
just
really liked the
military
last Black
action
Ops
movie.
game,
So I'm
too.
excited to see what
Cold
they got
War.
going with this one. Other than that, there are gameplay enhancements to the movement, and that's going to translate over to multiplayer as well. How much is that going to shake things up? I don't know for sure. I'm not a Call of Duty expert, but there's potential for this one. The Black Ops games are, of course, always a big deal. Even if you're not a hardcore Call of Duty
People
player,
definitely
there is just
still
a
play
massive
Call of
casual
Duty.
fan base out there, and I'm curious to see how they react to this one. We'll know for sure when it releases on every single platform October 24th. Next, over at number 10, we have Sonic X Shadow Generations. This is kind of like
Meh.
a remastering, re-release of the incredible Sonic Generations.
I don't know.
really like
I've
this
never
one.
played a Sonic
Now, it's
game.
got gorgeous new,
Maybe
higher
amazing.
resolution graphics, and also the ability to play as Shadow the Hedgehog. You're going to be able to jump into different levels, specifically new levels designed from the ground up for Shadow and his own unique gameplay options. And I think that's something that a lot of Sonic
I would
fans
take
have been waiting
Astrobot
for
over
a long
this.
time. It's about damn time Shadow comes back to the mainstream. He's cool. I don't know. We like him.
You enjoyed Sonic as a kid,
Sonic
now
and
it's too
Shadow
fast for your old
Generations is
eyes.
releasing on all the platforms October 25th. Now, next over at number 9, we have Frostpunk 2, the follow-up to one of my favorite strategy
I'm
games
very
ever. The original
interested in
Frostpunk
this.
is
This was just
brutal. You're
delayed.
tasked with managing
It
a
was supposed to
city,
come out this
but at the
month,
end
and
of
they
the world,
delayed it to
the world has
September.
frozen over, so you're worried about building, keeping
I'm not
people alive,
touching
but
this
also
game
keeping them
until it's
warm.
freezing
And it
cold
seems like with
outside,
Frostpunk
though.
2, it's going even further with resource management, like with oil and stuff, but again, making brutal decisions. The Frostpunk games are incredible for how challenging
This game
it
you
makes
have to
every single
play
decision. It's not like some
in
games
like
where
an
you just
ice
click,
storm
oh,
or
do I
something
raise
like that.
taxes? Do
As
I
long
do
as you have
this?
power.
Do I increase production? Blah, 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 blah. Every single decision you make here
Sonic
is
was your
pissing
childhood,
somebody off
being a
to an
Sega boy,
extreme
but Sonic
degree, and it is
doesn't
incredibly
work well in
stressful, but it makes for
3D.
some really, really
interesting.
interesting and compelling video game decision.
The
unlike anything else I've
what was the
experienced in any
Sonic
other-
game that just came out? Was it last year or the year before? Frontiers, was that it? 2022. Yeah, I really wanted to play this. I heard it was pretty good. Did anyone play Sonic Frontiers? I think this is one of the maybe like the Sonic game that I would enjoy.
game. So anyway, I've hyped this one up enough. I hope it's as good as
You
the
own
first
it?
one. I
Never
hope it
played it.
surpasses
Your kids
We
enjoy
don't
it.
know yet,
Okay.
but it's releasing on PC September 20th.
They tried to make an open world Sonic game.
Next
Yeah.
over at number 8, we have Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. Now, this one is
This game, I
interesting because,
downloaded the demo and
number one,
started
it's
it,
really
and then it
ambitious.
told me that
It's
you have to create an
13
account
years
to
since the
play,
release
and
of
I
Test
just
Drive Unlimited
deleted it.
2. So people are really, really looking forward to
I
this
was
one.
so
Also,
excited for this
from the
game
developers'
too, but I
words,
just
they're
couldn't
looking
bother
to
creating an
reinvent
account.
the open world
And the thing is, like,
multiplayer
it's gonna be an
racing game
MMO,
genre.
they
Big
said,
words,
which
big
just
ambitions.
is
We'll see if they do
disgusting
it,
to
but
me.
From what we can see so far, I mean, at least it looks gorgeous. It's got a lot of real
No
world
single-player
cars,
content.
incredible meticulous detail to all of it, but also it's got this big open world experience. It's the full Hong Kong island. They fully recreated it, and you get to adventure and drive drive around, and I think that looks pretty awesome because there's all types of variety. You got off-road, you got city, you got highways, you got everything you could want from this type of racing game. This one has been in the works for a long time, and like
Don't
I
have
said,
everything
it's
I
been
want.
so long since it's
Single player races.
This is a big deal. I think more than some people realize. Thankfully, it is finally releasing on all the major platforms September 12th, 2024. Next, over at number 7, we have Life is Strange Double Exposure.
Ooh,
Life is
I am
Strange
really
is
excited
back,
for this.
And an original character from the first game is back, Maxine Caulfield, which is good because that's the only one I played.
Really got to play
But
the
it's a
other
different developer this
games,
time
though.
around, and this time Max is
I have to
older,
play it
and she's in a
before
new situation
I play
where
this
it looks
game.
like they kind of took her and plopped her into a
First
murder
game was
mystery.
so
But with this
good.
murder mystery, she has a new ability to essentially shift between two timelines back and forth. So that's how she's going to solve this murder. I'm really curious to see how this one's going to go, how it's going to push the series further, because I feel like it got stagnant for a second. Is bringing back the original character the
Are
right
you up?
move?
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but we'll see how it goes. It's releasing October 29th,
Hi, Stevie.
2024,
Life is Strange 2 was
for all
really
the major
amazing. I ended up
platforms.
loving it more
Now,
than I
next,
thought.
down at number 6, we have the Silent Hill 2
Yeah, I've got to
remake.
play. I've
This
only played the
remake
first
is
one.
from Konami. They're getting back into
And
games,
I know
it
there's
seems,
the
but also
prequel
the
and
developer,
the
Bloober
sequel.
Team, the people most
And then there's
recently
like
behind
True
Medium,
Storm,
but
and then
also behind
there's
Layers of Fear,
like a
Observer, the Blair Witch
spin-off
Project
series
game,
that
and a
I
few
want to play
others.
those as
So
well.
That developer is divisive. They have some
I'm
fans,
very excited for
but,
this as
People
well.
are still wondering if
Although
they're
I'm
the
still a
ones
little
really
reluctant because
to
of
take
Bloober
on
Team, but
remaking Silent Hill
the
2,
gameplay that
because
they
it feels
showed
like
looked
a
really
massive
good.
challenge. Can you even recreate the magic of the original? We don't know for sure, but different developers did it with Resident Evil, so maybe they can give it a shot here. Obviously here, some gorgeous visuals, some kind of revamped combat. I'm still curious to see how it's all really going to go down, but I'm just hoping they tell that original, nuanced, beautiful story with all the cool music, the cool tone and atmosphere, all that. I really hope that's retained here. Looking forward to seeing how this one goes down. It's releasing on PC and PS5 October 8th.
Have you, Stevie?
Now,
have you played
next over
any
at
of the
number 5, we
other,
have Mario and Luigi Brothership.
like the
This is
prequel
releasing
or
for Nintendo Switch and looks
the spin-off
absolutely
series?
awesome. This is a new game in the Mario and Luigi series. It's a little bit different than your mainline Super Mario
I
games.
thought this looked
These are a
really
little
good
bit
too, but
quirkier.
maybe
They
just
get
because I really
creative
like
in some
Luigi.
wild ways, and you can tell from the debut trailer from the Nintendo Direct. Some of the moves, some of the cool stuff they're doing on screen here.
All right, Steve.
It looks
have
like
a
a
good
ton
nap.
of fun. This time the brothers are going to a new island that's like part ship, part island, and engaging in a new adventure. This looks perfect for the Nintendo Switch, especially towards the tail end of the console's life. I know everybody's talking about Nintendo Switch 2, but this looks like a good thing to play on regular old-fashioned Switch, and I think people are going to dig it.
You've only
We'll
played
find out
1
for
and
sure
2. You
when
have
it
the
releases
prequel and True
November
Colors, but I
7th.
haven't gotten to them yet.
Now
Same,
coming down at
except
number
I haven't
4,
played
we
the
have
second one.
Assassin's Creed Shadows. This is the one that people have been asking
game
for
looks really
for
good,
many,
too.
many years. An Assassin's Creed game set in
Excited
feudal
to play
Japan.
as the stealthy
Although, now looking
one.
at this
I can't
game,
remember her
I'm
name.
not sure what to make of it. I'm also a notoriously picky Assassin's Creed fan, and I know every gamer out there already has strong opinions about this game, one way or another, for various different things. For me, I'm just not sure what to make of playing as two different characters, where one is like an all-out brawler, heavy attacker in an Assassin's Creed game, centered usually more around stealth, and then the actual stealth character.
Yeah, I'm really curious how they're going to handle, like, if you have to play as certain characters for certain areas, because I'm trying to remember how they did it in Syndicate, because that was the only, well, I guess, wait, you could choose either or in Odyssey, right? But I think you just stuck with them the whole game. I didn't finish Odyssey, but I think you had to stick with whatever you chose the whole game. And then I think in Valhalla, I think it would switch for you. And then I feel like in Syndicate it would switch. Like there were some areas where you would play as Evie. And then I don't remember the brother's name, but I think you had to play as the brother at some point. And so I'm wondering how they're going to handle that here. Like if you can just, I think you can switch back and forth at any time. But I wonder if there's like certain missions that you have to do as the woman or the man, or if you can just do any of them with either character.
Seems kind of generic.
I hope
That
that's
being
the
said, we have
case,
seen
because
some cool level design and some cool stealth
um,
scenarios. Just the level
I really
of
just like
quality,
to play
though,
stealthy.
It's hard not to compare to other games set
And I remember one of the really big things that they said about this, at least for me, that I thought was really interesting, is that it's going to have seasons, like spring, summer, winter, fall kind of seasons, and that will affect the gameplay, which I don't know how much it's actually going to affect the gameplay, but it seems like that could be really cool. Like if it's snowing, then the guards could see your, footsteps or foot tracks or whatever. That would be really neat. Yeah, I think it's a really cool idea.
In these settings. Either way, though, just looking at it from a top-down view, the potential is great. This setting is an incredible one. So the types of weapons you use,
Stevie, are you an
regions
artist?
see, the way you kill people, it could be really cool. But frankly, we're not sure yet.
I just
We're gonna
noticed your
judge it,
name.
like I always say, when we get our hands on it, we'll do it before you buy, all that stuff. I just like the Assassin's Creed series and I want to see it continue. But frankly, who knows? Not quite sure yet. But like I always say, we'll judge it when we get our hands on it. Of course, we'll do a before you buy video on it, but when it releases on all the major consoles and platforms, November 15th.
You are?
Now down at
I'm
number
gonna guess
3,
you draw.
Slitterhead. This one's really weird. I definitely think it's gonna be an acquired taste, but I think for horror fans, it's significant because it's from
I am
Keiichiro Toyama,
very
the
interested in
creator
this
of
one.
Silent Hill. He's going for something very different here with a
Also,
new
tell me
studio
this
and-
character does not look like Sebastian from Evil Within 1. You're an illustrator and concept artist. Oh, are you in the Easy Allies? Is that how you found me? Or did you just randomly come across the stream? It's nice to meet you. I would love to see your work. Do you have a website? Oh, podcast with Darkslayer. Nice. Awesome. Deus Ex Nexus. Hello, welcome. Yeah, this character
fans, it's significant.
is basically just Sebastian. Go back. I think they show his face. Maybe they don't show his face. Ozzy, they just posted an update. I'll look at it here again here in just a second. Okay, I thought that was way
Number
closer.
3, we have Slitterhead. This one's really weird. I definitely think it's gonna be
Okay, maybe at some trailer they show his face and he looks very similar to Sebastian from Evil
acquired
Within.
taste, but I think for horror fans, it's significant because it's from Keiichiro Toyama, the creator of Silent Hill. He's going for something very different here with
Sparking
a new studio.
Zero.
and it
What is
almost kind of
Sparking
looks
Zero?
like prototype, but Japanese. Got some interesting quirks too.
Oh,
and a
I would
weird
love to
flavor,
see your
some
art station. If
incredible
you're
monster
okay with
designs, and there's
sharing
kind of
it,
a whole
like
body
if I can look at it
swap
on
thing.
stream.
You're never really playing
I mean,
the
if
same
not, then I'll
person
just look at it
twice.
off stream.
Looks like you're playing as random civilians in
yeah,
a city
I
just
love
trying to
looking
fight
at
these monsters, and it just
other
seems
artwork.
unique. We got to give it that. To be frank, we still don't know too much about it either. It was revealed a few years back, and we finally got a real glimpse of it at Summer Game Fest this year, but I'm expecting us to
awesome.
learn a lot
I will
more
look
about
at it here in
closer
just a
to its
second
release
after
date.
this
It's
video.
releasing on PC and all the major platforms.
Oh,
November 8th.
Dragon Ball Budokai.
And coming down to number 2, switching gears a little bit with The Legend of
for-
Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
I know
This
two
is
of those
releasing for Nintendo
words.
Switch, and it looks like a little bit of a different flavor of Zelda game. Something we haven't had before. It's because you're playing as Princess Zelda
Oh, it's a
herself.
fighting
It's very
game.
much
I
got the
gotcha.
art style, the gameplay style of The Legend of Zelda
so
Link's Awakening
Deus Ex, nice to
remake
meet you,
from a few
first of
years
all.
back, which was absolutely
Second of
gorgeous.
all,
It was
Deus
more of a
Ex
kiddie style, but it
games.
worked.
I don't know if
And
that's what
here,
your
you're playing
name is a
as
reference to, but
Zelda
the
out
Deus
to
Ex
save the
games are
world,
some
I
of
guess
my
save
favorite
Link,
games of all
but with some pretty
time.
creative gameplay concepts.
And
Almost a little bit more of like a Zelda combat.
I
puzzler,
know
where,
very
you
little
think
about
you just give
Dragon
Princess
Ball,
Zelda, like, a little
except
sword
that
or
I
a little
really like
magic
Dragon
wand.
Ball.
Here she
But my
actually has a
only
magic
experience
ability
with
to
Dragon
absorb
Ball is
and
the
recreate anything in the
game
environment.
Kakarot.
Enemies to pit enemies at one another,
And
crates, devices,
I absolutely love the
just
game.
ways to get around. It looks like you're constantly thinking about what to use from the game world in order to progress. It's got a little bit of a player
You can share your
freedom,
SoundCloud? Do you have a
creativity aspect to
SoundCloud?
it,
Do
kinda
you
like
make
Tears of the
music?
Kingdom,
I
but
would
it's
love
cool
to
they're
hear your
continuing
music.
that in like a 2D sense. I'm really curious to see how this one actually pans out. Like if it's really
Okay, I'll
worth
watch
it.
the trailer.
We'll know for sure when it releases September 26th.
We've got
And now finally,
one
down
more
at
game
number
here.
1, we have Star Wars Outlaws. This is the
Oh,
next
I'm
big
very excited for
Star
Star Wars
Wars game, this time
Outlaws.
from Ubisoft.
You're DJ
They're
and you
making an
play
open
guitar.
world
This is
Han Solo
awesome.
game. So you're not really getting into Jedi shenanigans
really
or doing
cool.
stuff that interacts with the main storylines. You're just out in
I
the
love
gritty
meeting
underworld of
people
Star Wars, getting into all kinds
and
of
meeting other
hijinks and
artists that
adventures.
do
And
things
this
that I
game is
cannot
significant
do,
because it's kind of
and
an
I
open
cannot
world Star
draw,
Wars
and I
game.
cannot
You're visiting a couple of planets that are
make
just
music.
big open environments. You're free to explore, interact with NPCs, towns.
Ubisoft
hop on a
game is
speeder
first.
bike, or just get back
Yeah,
in your ship.
this game
fly
looks
into space,
incredible,
get
I
some
think.
Space battles. There's a lot going on here. And I've gotten
Um,
my hands on the game at some early access events.
Yeah, I think
seeing
this
a
looks
work in
really
progress
good.
of it,
I'm really
and it did
excited for
seem
this.
promising. I was a little skeptical because it's Ubisoft, but it's from Massive, the people behind The Division, and I like the way they built those games. There's still a lot of questions out there. Star Wars is tricky. Everybody's very picky with Star Wars, but also, how is the main loop going to go? Is this thing
Ubisoft
gonna get
has
repetitive? Is it gonna feel
had a
more
really,
Ubisoft
really rough
stuff?
stretch.
Or is it going to be a cut above?
There's
Then,
no
of course,
denying
Ubisoft
that.
is also famous for
But
pulling a bunch of
Ubisoft
weird pre-order crap that a lot of players just
still
don't
has
want.
some
I
really,
think
really good
despite
games.
all that, this is shaping up to be a promising game. I really hope they knock it out of the park with this one, and I just say that as a Star Wars fan who really likes Star Wars video games. We've been eating good, and I really hope that they nail this one. We'll know for sure when we get our hands on this thing on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC August 30th. But there you have it, folks. Those are 25 new games coming for the second half of 2024. There's a lot of games to talk about, so let us know in the comments what you think, what you're looking forward to. Yes, please let us know because it helps us gauge interest for videos for the coming months. But if you like this video and you like talking games with us every
Okay. This is Stevie's ArtStation. Thank you for sharing that, Stevie. Wow, these are incredible. Stevie, these are really good. I am really jealous of how good these are. I always wish that I could draw, and I've never been good at drawing or painting. That's why I became a photographer. How long have you been drawing? That's really cool. What was the last best Ubisoft game? What is that a molecule in the background there? I've been drawing on and off for your whole life, but really seriously for maybe 8 to 10 years. What molecule is that in the background? That's really cool. Oxytocin, nice. I just can I show you my artwork? It's not as good as this because it's 3D artwork. It's not real artwork. I just made a samurai sword. I gotta remember where I put it. Well, I can just show you in Unreal Engine. I just have to boot it up. But I've been working on this little cyberpunk scene. 3D modeling it and texturing and all that stuff. Thank you, Minish. I'm learning. Oh, that's really cool. I like that. I don't think I know what this is. What is this from? Season 3. Ansible? Is that a series? Use Blockbench. I don't think I know what Blockbench is. A sci-fi book series by an indie author. Wow, were you commissioned for this? That is really cool. Used to do a bunch of book covers for indie authors. That is so neat. So this is another book cover. Wow, this is fantastic. I'm so jealous. These are really good. Before you got into games, you were really focused on book covers. So do you do this professionally now? Or have you done this professionally? Wow, that's really cool. Take care, Ozzy. Have a good day, night. What time is it for you right now? Is it Monday day for you? Oh no, it's 3:45 a.m. Okay, never mind. Have a good night, Ozzy. Oh wow. Oh, that's really cool. Oh wow. I just noticed the people on the ground here. Man, these are so good. 1:45 where you are. Take care, Ozzy. Have a good one. These are great, Stevie. Thank you so much for sharing these. I love seeing this stuff. I'm gonna follow you on here because I don't follow a lot of people on ArtStation because I really just got on ArtStation. So I'm still very new to game dev. I have been doing it for about 1.5 years now. So quick overview. I have been into video games my whole life, but never thought I would want to make games because I was never into programming. For some reason, I just thought making video games just meant like programming and like programming code, you know? And then I just randomly downloaded Unreal Engine and just started playing around with that and just was like instantly hooked in Unreal Engine. And just like within like 3 days, I was like, what am I doing? This is what I should be doing with my life. And so I basically just started focusing all of my attention into game development and started learning that. And I just started learning Blender last year, really like in December or maybe November. And I have gotten just completely addicted to Blender. But yeah, so I've gone all out. I'm trying to make a game. I am making a game. It's a horror game called House of Lies. Actually, you can do !wishlist. Those are the games that I'm working on. There's 2 games because 1 game apparently is not enough. But currently right now, House of Lies is what I'm trying to focus on. And I keep getting distracted by making stuff in Blender. But anyway, here's my samurai sword that I made. Oh, the lighting's really bad here. Let me just drop another light so you can see. It's still kind of hard to see the detail on it. But I'm really proud of it. I think it looks really cool. Thank you. And I've been slowly making this whole apartment, modeling everything myself over the past couple of weeks. It's really just like a total personal project. We made this pizza and pizza box the other day just for fun. I decided to model a laundry detergent bottle just for fun. Figured out how to make a book. This table, which I'm still really proud of this table. I like this table. I'm really proud of the couch. I really like the couch. We did these. Chair. This thingy. couple of shelves, this desk, this chair I'm not really very happy with. I'm probably gonna redo that or do a new chair. This chair I think is better. Yeah, anyway. That's one of the little projects I've been working on. Poly count is some stuff, it's a little all over the place. Nothing super high. This is probably pretty high. But it's not crazy high. This is 27,000 vertices. I honestly haven't really focused super heavy on it's pretty, I don't know. I don't really know what's like really high poly and what's considered really high poly still. I've just started learning how to like bake high poly to low poly. I've been learning how to do that. I did that with the desk here. This is pretty low poly. 400 triangles. Yeah. I could have probably made those legs a lot lower, but the details are baked on there. I'll look at Sparking Zero soon. I would say I spent like a week doing all of this in here. I can show you the blender. This is, I just did this last night. This was again just for fun, just trying to learn like hard surface modeling. This is of course pretty high poly, but not super high. This is, I don't know, 20,000, 21,000 triangles. Let's see. Cyberpunk apartment. So this is kind of everything that I've got in here. I don't even remember what I was specifically going to look at in here. There's some stuff that I haven't textured yet. I started working on this door here. It's very messy. I don't really know what I'm doing, to be honest. I kind of just learn as I go. Make a lot of mistakes. Try to learn from those mistakes. Your low poly desk was about 10% poly versus the high poly. Oh yeah. I don't even remember this. I don't remember where the high poly version of that desk was. Let's see, what's some other stuff that I've been working on lately? I did this the other day. This was again this was actually from a tutorial that I had. And I took a lot from what I learned on this, and I did the this rifle. I did this pretty much completely by myself, just from reference images. The grenade was more like following a tutorial. In block bench, a desk would be 26 faces total. Wow, that's very low poly. This was an early attempt at a gun. It's much higher poly. So I've been also playing around with like using subdivision versus non-subdivision, I guess. I don't really know the terms. So this was all using kind of the subdivision method, which leads to much higher poly. What else? I made a screwdriver. Just for fun. Yeah, just all kinds of random. I try to do a model every day. That's what I've been trying to do lately. Oh, thank you for saying that. It's so, like I said, I always wanted to be, or maybe I didn't say this, but I've said this to other people. I've always wanted to be into art and do artistic things, but I was never good at drawing or painting. And I got into photography kind of later in my life, like well after high school, after college, and started doing that full time. I did that for 13 years and just recently started doing game development over the past year-ish, year and a half. And then I started getting into 3D modeling and really have been enjoying that. And so it's just cool to find something that you can be artistic with, and, you know, feel like you can actually halfway do. Because I cannot draw. I really wish I could draw like you can. Photography is actually a superpower. Photography has been great in terms of helping me just know, like, you know, basic composition when it comes to creating scenes in Unreal Engine, and especially with lighting and things like that. Yeah, it's been really helpful for that. Unrelated, but I think you would enjoy topology. What do you mean by topology? Because I mean topology as in like the topology of this? Or do you mean topology in some other way? Topology is a branch of mathematics that says a donut is the same shape as a coffee mug. Okay. I'd like to know more, for sure. I can't remember what I was going to say. So topology is also... I don't really know what the definition of topology is, but in 3D modeling, you have the topology of a model, which is like, I don't know, like the way the vertices are laid out. What is the definition of topology? In 3D modeling. Topology is the way you arrange the vertices, edges, and faces of your 3D mesh. I would like to hold my coffee and a donut. Wouldn't we all? So... okay, I'm going to look up topology in mathematics, but I promised Deus Ex I would look at Sparking Zero. So let me look at that first. Okay. That stuff is great, Stevie. Thank you again. Sparking... Zero. Is there a trailer? There must be a trailer for this, right? Oh, interesting. Okay, but so does does a coffee mug have a hole? What is the definition of a hole? Are there different kinds of holes? Because there's a hole that goes all the way through an object, and then you have a hole, like if I dig a hole, that obviously doesn't have an end. Oh, the handle. Duh. Okay, I see. Is there a trailer for this? Release date announcement? There are many trailers. Maybe like a reveal trailer? What's the best one to watch? I should warn you, I really don't know a whole lot about Dragon Ball, so I don't know if I'm really the best person to react to this. Maybe I'll let you find one. Can you find maybe the best trailer and just link it to me? Topology in mathematics. What is topology? Oh boy. Topology studies properties of spaces that are invariant under any continuous oh goodness, I'm going to need to put this into Chat GPT. Sometimes called rubber sheet geometry because the objects can be stretched and contracted like rubber but cannot be broken. Wow, that kind of sounds like space-time. You can bend space-time, but you can't really break it. For example, a square can be deformed into a circle without breaking it, but a figure 8 cannot. It's more equivalent to a circle. I guess if you're only looking at it in 2D, but if it were in 3D, then you could make this into a square, right? Or a circle. General topology or point set topology. Normally considers local properties of spaces and is closely related to analysis. It generalizes the concept of continuity to define topological spaces in which limits of sequences can be considered. You ever just read something and like have no idea what you just read? Oh, I feel like that's me whenever I read something like this. Sometimes distances can be defined. It's funny because I feel like I am maybe slightly above average when it comes to math, but I really have a hard time comprehending things when I read them the first times. The figure 8 essentially has 2 holes that can be deformed into a square. It cannot be deformed. I guess the way I'm thinking about it is like, what if you have let's say 12 vertices and you do something like this. Oh, that didn't really work. Maybe I need more vertices. Uh, 14. No, I'm gonna get the same problem. What's 14? Divided by 360. I mean 360. Didn't mean to do 36. Shoot. Oh, I always do that backwards. 360 divided by 14. Oh, that does... I don't know what I'm doing. Never mind. Yeah, I guess what I'm saying, if you could just, like, rotate half to make a figure eight. This is not working. RX 180. Okay, I know that's not a figure eight, but it's kind of a figure eight. My whole point is, if you do something like this, then you could still take this, as long as you didn't merge these vertices and turn it into a square. So I don't know if that is allowed in what we're talking about, or if that's just something totally different. Thank you for the lurk. It was really nice to meet you, Stevie. I really appreciate it. Yes, I see the link. I'll check it out here. Oh, I saw Goku. Goku. I know him.
You'll soon understand the difference in our power. My speed is unmatched.
Super Trunks. Don't know who that is. Dispo? Dispo? Actual gameplay and cutscenes.
A mindless beast like you is nothing but prey to
Who
a
is that?
warrior of light.
Kaku.
You're my prey.
I don't know who any of these are. Oh, Master Roshi, I know him.
Oh, yes, but experienced. Founder of the Turtle School, creator of the sacred technique.
I've never seen him fight.
Well then, let playtime begin.
Oh, Nappa, I know him.
This universe or another, I'm always the fastest. Don't think I'm gonna follow your orders for the rest of my life. Size means nothing when you're as quick as me.
Justice prevails. Evil erased. This
Apo.
rampaging monster must
Apology, maybe?
Come on, Mike, you're a king. Get your head together.
I don't know who that is.
Be left in the dust.
Solar Chief, welcome.
Yeah, let's do it up. Purple. Come in. My enemies die.
Hail?
Are you joking?
Better wrap this up quickly. Don't think you can enter my crosshairs and just walk away.
I don't know any of these characters.
You cannot win.
Where is Goku?
Good grief. Looks like we've awakened a real bona fide monster.
Wish list now. How's it going, Solar Chief? I think topology is best understood with Play-Doh. If you made a figure eight with Play-Doh, you couldn't make a square out of it. without breaking the figure 8. Anyway, watching use Blender reminded me of it. Didn't mean to do. No, it's super interesting. This stream is just. I have no no particular course for the stream. I am open to talk about anything. And it sounds very interesting. So I think I understand what you're saying. So if you start with a figure 8, you're starting with 2 circles, which means that you can't untwist it to make 1 circle. I gotcha. Gracious. Coming out October 10th. Let's find a YouTube video about topology. Mathematics. Who cares about topology? I care about topology.
We might be shown something like a Mobius strip, maybe building it out of construction paper by
Oh yeah, do
twisting
you have
the
a link to your
rectangle and gluing
SoundCloud?
its ends. Look, we'd be told, as we were asked to draw a line along the surface. It's a surface with just one side. Or we might be told that topologists view coffee mugs and donuts as the same thing, since each has just one hole.
Oh, I see.
But these kinds of demos...
Wait, so I do still have a question about the hole. Is there... Maybe this is more of a geometry thing, but is there a specific definition of a hole? And does a hole require it to be open on both ends? Like if I go out and I dig a hole, is that technically a hole?
always left a lurking question. How is this math? How does any of this actually help to solve problems? It wasn't until I saw the problem that I'm about to show you, with its elegant and surprising solution, that I started to understand why mathematicians
In
actually
topology, a
care
hole
about
would
some of
have
these shapes
both
and the
ends.
properties
Okay.
they have. So there's this unsolved problem called the inscribed square problem. If you have a closed loop, meaning you squiggle some line through space in a potentially crazy way and you end up back where you started, the question is whether or not you'll always be able to find 4 points on this loop that make up a square. If your closed loop was a circle, for example, it's quite easy to find an inscribed square. Infinitely many, in fact. If your loop was instead an ellipse, it's still pretty easy to find an inscribed square.
Minish, have you ever heard, or have you, I'm sure you probably have you ever seen the video of Carl Sagan describing what a fourth dimension would look like?
The question is whether or not every possible closed loop, no matter how crazy, has at least one inscribed square. Pretty interesting, right? I mean, just the fact that this is unsolved is interesting, that the current tools of math can neither confirm nor deny that there's some loop with no inscribed square in it. Now, if we weaken the question a bit and ask about inscribed rectangles instead of inscribed squares, it's still pretty hard, but there is a beautiful, video-worthy solution that might actually be my favorite piece of math. The idea is to shift the focus away from individual points on the loop and instead onto pairs of points. We'll use the following fact about rectangles.
Let's label the vertices. It's one of my favorite videos.
A, B, C,
I just
D.
love how he explains
Then the pair
it.
of points AC has a few things in common with the pair of points BD. The distance between A and C equals the distance between B and D, and the midpoint of A and C is the same as the midpoint of B and D. In fact, anytime you have two separate pairs of points in space, AC and BD, if you can guarantee that they share a midpoint and that the distance between AC equals the distance between B and D, it's enough to guarantee that those 4 points make up a rectangle. So what we're going to do is try to prove that for any closed loop, it's always possible to find two distinct pairs of points on that loop that share a midpoint and which are the same distance apart. Take a moment to make sure that's clear. We're finding two distinct pairs of points that share a common midpoint.
Yeah, so they have to share a midpoint then. I guess I didn't really think about that. Okay, hang on. I want to find the Carl Sagan video. I haven't seen it in a while. Sagan fourth dimension.
In discussing the large-scale
I just love the way Carl Sagan talks, or talked.
structure of the cosmos, astronomers sometimes say that space is curved, or that the universe is finite but unbounded. Whatever are they talking about? Let's imagine that we are perfectly flat. I mean absolutely flat, and that we live, appropriately enough, in a flatland. A land designed and named by Edwin Abbott, a Shakespearean scholar who lived in Victorian England. Everybody in flatland is, of course, exceptionally flat. We have squares, circles, triangles, and we all scurry about, and we can go into our houses and do our flat business. Now, we have width and length, but no height at all. Now, these little cutouts have some little height, but let's ignore that. Let's imagine that these are absolutely flat. That being the case, we know, us flatlanders, about left-right, and we know about forward-back, but we have never heard of up-down. Let us imagine that into flatland, hovering above it, comes a strange three-dimensional creature which, oddly enough, looks like an apple. And the three-dimensional creature sees an attractive, congenial-looking square, watches it enter its house, and decides in a gesture of interdimensional amity to say hello. Hello, says the three-dimensional creature. How are you? I am a visitor from the third dimension. Well, the poor square looks around his closed house, sees no one there, and what's more, has witnessed a greeting coming from his insides, a voice from within. He surely is getting a little worried about his sanity. The three-dimensional creature is unhappy about being considered a psychological aberration, and so he descends to actually enter flatland. Now, a three-dimensional creature exists in flatland only partially. Only a plane, a cross-section through him can be seen. So when the three-dimensional creature first reaches flatland, it's only the points of contact which can be seen, and we'll represent that by stamping the apple in this ink pad and placing that image in flatland. And as the
I just
apple were
love
to
this. When I
descend
first,
through
I was like a kid when I first saw this, and it was just one of those things that you learn, and you're like, that is the coolest thing ever. And I'm 37 years old, and it's still the coolest thing ever. Just to think about like how, you know, what a two-dimensional world would be like if all of a sudden a three-dimensional object came into your two-dimensional life. Like, you wouldn't be able to perceive it because you only can comprehend two dimensions.
Slither by flatland, we would progressively see higher and higher slices, which we can represent by cutting the apple.
Need to sharpen that knife, Carl.
So the square, as time goes on, sees a set of objects mysteriously appear from nowhere and inside a closed room and change their shape dramatically. His only conclusion could be that he's gone bonkers. Well, the apple might be a little annoyed at this conclusion, and so, not such a friendly gesture from dimension to dimension, makes a contact with the square from below and sends our flat creature fluttering and spinning above flatland. At first, the square has no idea what's happening. He's terribly confused. This is utterly outside his experience. But after a while, he comes to realize that he is seeing inside closed rooms in flatland. he is looking inside his fellow flat creatures. He is seeing
Yeah,
Flatland from a
exactly.
perspective no one has ever seen it before, to his knowledge. Getting into another dimension
CT scans live in
provides an
Flatlands.
incidental benefit, a kind of X-ray vision. Now our flat creature slowly descends to the surface, and his friends rush up to see him. From their point of view, he has mysteriously appeared from nowhere. He hasn't walked from somewhere else. He's come from some other place. They say, for heaven's sake, what's happened to you? And the poor square has to say, well, I was in some other mystic dimension called up. And they will
I was in
pat
the
him on
third
his
dimension.
side and comfort him, or else they'll ask, well, show us, where is that third dimension? Point to it. And the poor square will be unable to comply. But maybe more interesting is the other direction in dimensionality. What about the fourth dimension? Now, to approach that, let's consider a cube. We can imagine a cube in the following way. You take a line segment and move it at right angles to itself in equal length. That makes a square. Move that square in equal length at right angles to itself, and you have a cube. Now, this cube, we understand,
Welcome back, Steve.
casts a shadow.
We're learning about
And
the fourth
that
dimension.
shadow we recognize. It's, ordinarily drawn in third grade classrooms as two squares with their vertices connected. Now, if we look at the shadow of a three-dimensional object in 2 dimensions, we see that, in this case, not all the lines appear equal. Not all the angles are right angles. The three-dimensional object has not been perfectly represented in its projection in
'cause
3
we're seeing a
dimensions,
shadow.
but that's part of the cost of losing a dimension in the projection. Now, let's take this three-dimensional cube and project it, carry it through a fourth physical dimension. Not that way, not that way, not that way, but at right angles to those 3 directions. I can't show you what direction that is, but imagine that there is a fourth physical dimension. In that case, we would generate a 4-dimensional hypercube, which is also called a tesseract. I cannot show you a tesseract because I and you are trapped in 3 dimensions. But what I can show you is the shadow in 3 dimensions of a 4-dimensional hypercube or tesseract. This is it. And you can see it's 2 nested cubes, all the vertices connected by lines. And now the real tesseract in 4 dimensions would have all the lines of equal length and all the angles right angles. That's not what we see here, but that's the penalty of projection. So you see, while we cannot imagine the world of 4 dimensions, we can certainly think about it perfectly well. Now, imagine a universe just like Flatland, truly.
No. Man, I could listen to Carl Sagan all day explaining this kind of stuff. It's so interesting. Yeah, it's sad that some people would watch that and just get bored. I get it. It's not for everybody, but I just think it's the coolest thing in the world. Have you guys ever heard the pale blue dot? This is probably the most famous picture, maybe of all time. It was a photograph that Voyager 2 took when it was leaving our solar system. And Carl Sagan was the they weren't going to do this, but Carl Sagan was the main person that pushed them to do this. He asked them to turn the craft around and take a photo. And it is, to this day, the farthest photo that has ever been taken of our planet. And he wrote this very beautiful poem called The Pale Blue Dots.
Every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician.
Why is it starting there?
From this distant vantage point, the Earth might not seem of any particular interest. But for us, it's different. Consider again that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives.
That sentence especially always blows my mind to think about, that every single human being that has ever existed lives or lived there in that photo.
The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on the mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors.
Have you never heard this,
so that
Minish?
in glory and triumph they could become the momentary masters of a fraction of a dot.
Oh, wow.
Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel on the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner. How frequent their misunderstandings, how eager they are to kill one another, how fervent their hatreds. Our posturings, our imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe, are challenged by this point of pale light. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. The Earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species could migrate. Visit? Yes. Settle? Not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, the Earth is where we make our stand. It has been said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known.
Man, so good. That's the pale blue dot. Isn't that such a just beautiful poem? Just a beautiful piece of writing, I think, to go along with that image. Have you guys ever seen the movie Contact or read the book? Carl Sagan wrote Contact. which I didn't know when I first watched Contact. Contact was the movie that made me want to become an astronomer when I was a kid. And I was I was interested in space before Contact, but when that movie came out, I really, really was interested in it. Not seen Contact. Oh, it's so good. I would highly recommend it. Have I ever heard there was no up, there was no down, there was no side to side? I don't think I have. I will check it out. I told Nexus I would check out his SoundCloud as well. Are you still here, Nexus? Ooh. This is nice. Very pleasant. This is really nice. I like it. I love this style of music. Do you have more, or is it just this one? Oh, you have lots. That's awesome. What do you use to make this? Fruity Loops, right? Is it still called Fruity Loops? Yeah, that's great. I really like that. Is all of your music like that? I listen to, I'm sure you know Lo-Fi Girl. I love their music. Oh yeah, this is very different. I like this too, though. I just saw planets here, so I have to check that out. Oh, there's planets down here too. Oh, I see. Is this like an album that you made? Extended playlist, gotcha. Ooh, this is good. How long have you been making music? That's cool. Thank you for sharing. Okay.
Before the Big Bang, there was no up, there was no down, there was no side to side.
There was no.
Oh, hang on. I have shorts turned off. Let's turn them back on. Okay.
Before the Big Bang, there was no up, there was no down, there was no side to side.
There was no up, there was no down, there was no side to side. There was no light, there was no dark, nor shape of any kind. There were no stars or planet Mars or protons to collide.
I have
There
heard
was no
this.
up, there was no down, there was no side to side. And furthermore, to underscore this total lacking state, there was no here, there was no there, because there was no space. And in this endless void, which can't be thought of as a place, there was no time, and so no passing minutes, hours, days. Of all the paradoxes that belabor common sense, I think this one's the greatest, this time before events. Because how did we get from nothing to infinitely dense, from immeasurably small to inconceivably immense? But before we get unmoored from the question at the start, let's take a breath and marvel at when math becomes an art. Because we don't have to understand it to know there was a time when there was no up, there was no down, there was no side to side.
Yeah, that's really great.
Before
I
the
like
Big
that.
Bang.
Half a decade. Wow, nice. I I can't tell you guys like how much I think about like the concept of time sometimes. And just how weird and strange the universe is, and how like I think about like the speed of light all the time, and how it relates to the passage of time. And like I have had this fascination ever since I learned about um relativity, which I learned about relativity at a fairly young age because my dad was really into this stuff. And he taught me a little bit about it. Um, but he didn't really he didn't really know a whole lot about it. He just knew like the basic concept of like the faster you go, the slower time moves for you. But ever since I learned that, it has just blown my mind, and I just can't describe how incredibly weird and strange and cool that concept is. And not even just that not even that it's just a concept, but like it's a true thing. We have proven that time changes when you go faster, and also when you're close to or due to gravitational mass. And that just blows my mind. Like, and the thing that I don't understand is why like everyone is not just talking about how insane it is. How to travel faster in time than anyone else, stay completely still. Yeah. Well, it's kind of hard to do when we're all traveling at the same speed on Earth. But yeah, if you could somehow. But then, like, it's all relative to the observer, right? Because, like, we are all traveling at the same speed through space. But if I were to suddenly, you know, jump off of the Earth magically and stop relative to the speed of Earth, what does that really mean? Like, I'm still moving relative to something else. I'm still like going around the Milky Way galaxy. And then like, you know, the Milky Way galaxy is moving presumably around something else. And, you know, that's presumably moving around something else. All of that stuff just, it's so fascinating to me. Yeah. Yeah. How do I reset my position to 000? What is the 000 of the universe? That's another thing that is, I think about all the time, because we talk about like, oh yeah, you know, we can look out in one direction 14 billion light years, or like 13.7 billion light years, or whatever. So that means that, well, we can look out the other direction at 13.7 billion light years. And so that means that we know the universe must be at least, what is that? 26 plus 27.4 light years, in diameter. And I haven't looked enough into this, and I don't know if we really know. I don't feel like we really do know, but I have always wondered, like, what is at the edge of the universe? You know, is it just like, it's just a brick wall? Is it just like absolute nothingness? Yeah, I mean it's obviously bigger than 13 billion light years, but that's just what we've seen. I think it's farther now, isn't it? Like 14 something billion light years. Again, not trying to derail, but there's a Baylor doctor who was researching schizophrenia. as a time recognition disease, in essence. He hypothesized that the schizophrenic mind observes and interacts with hallucinations due to a distorted sense of when the real permanent reality actually took place. Their mind lives in two different times simultaneously without being able to determine which of the times is real. Something like that is wild. That is wild and also terrifying. Schizophrenia is a really scary disease to me, and that is really terrifying. Hey, Kailua Kid, a Walmart Supercenter. What? 46.504. So is that the estimate of what the how big is the universe in light years? Well, this is 94 billion light years. Observable universe. But oh, this is... See, how does that work? How can the age only be 13.7 billion light years? I guess we know this, but I don't understand this. We know that particles in the universe are traveling faster than the speed of light, right? But do we know why or how? Because if the size is 94 billion light years, then and it's only 13.7 billion light years old, that means they obviously had to travel more than 13.7 billion light years, or travel faster than the speed of light. Dark energy causes space to accelerate. Dark energy. I don't know if I've heard that. Also, this is from 2006, is that right? Yeah, I know dark matter causes extra gravity. We don't really know a whole lot about dark matter, though, right? I mean, we just, like, we basically know somehow, I don't really know how we know this, but we know we have an estimate for, like, how much the universe weighs, or how much a galaxy weighs, and we take the observable amount of mass in that galaxy, which we can measure, and it doesn't add up. And so we're like, well, there's something there, but we can't see it. That's how I understand dark energy anyway. We're learning more every day, yeah. Man. This stuff is just so fascinating. It's so crazy that to go back here, 1919, so, you know, just 100 years ago. Okay, so we thought the age was infinite, which I feel like you could honestly, I mean, we're getting into like some really philosophical stuff now, but like, you know, like, there's always the question, like, okay, what came before the Big Bang, right? And always the question of like, where did the mass from the Big Bang come from? And what caused it, and all of that stuff that we don't have answers for. But I feel like, even if we don't have the answer for that, there had to be existence of something. And so that would presumably mean that the age of the universe is infinite, because we I mean, it's also one of those things that, like, maybe our human minds just cannot understand. It's like the fourth dimension, you know? Like, our human minds are created in 3 dimensions, and we just can't comprehend. We're stuck in a flatland. And, you know, the age of the universe is a 3-dimensional object that our 2D minds can't understand. I think maybe that's where it is. And that is sad in a little ways that, like, we probably will never understand that. But I think that maybe it's just the way it is. Because it's just such a weird thing to think about. Like, again, I can't comprehend, and I don't think any human being can comprehend what it would mean for there not to be any existence of anything. The human mind is not capable to comprehend vast times and quantities. Yeah. Yeah. My dad always used to say, I always liked this, that when thinking about the concept of infinity, he would say that if you took a ball of granite and if you made that ball of granite the size of the solar system, and then if you had a hummingbird that went around the solar system and flapped its wings, and just the end of the wings tapped or, flapped against the granite. And if you measured the time that it would take for the granite to get worn down to the size of a little pebble, then infinity would just begin. I always just thought that was cool. So anyway, in 1919, we could only measure 300, or we thought the size was 300,000 light years. And then 1929, so 10 years later, we somehow determined that the age is 2 billion years and that the size is 200 million light years. And then 1955, we determined that the age is 6 billion light years. Oh no, I'm sorry. 6 billion years and 4 billion light years in size. And then we keep going until 2006, where we think that the age... Now, this is interesting because I feel like this has not changed much. That we think the age is 13.7 billion light years and the size is 94 billion light years. That's 2006. Hey, Gustian. Welcome. Yeah, my dad, he's died a few years ago, or actually 6 years ago now. It's crazy. But he was always very interesting. I always, I attribute a lot of my interest in science and math and that kind of stuff to him. There are multiple infinities. My infinity is bigger than yours. So, do we have any more updated estimates of the size of the universe, or is it still 94 billion light years? Observable universe. GLY. What is... Oh, that's a light year. So, wow, that's interesting. So it really hasn't changed since 2006. Thank you, Kailua Kid. Yeah, I think it reversed at some point, right? The Earth score, which I think if I remember reading about it, it's actually not that big of a deal. Like apparently it will happen again, that it will reverse and go the other way. That's another interesting thing that probably not a lot of people know about the Earth's core, or they probably just don't even think about it, like us weirdos do, that the Earth's core does spin. And I think if I understand it right, that's what causes the magnetosphere, right? Or at least that's one thing that causes that. Yeah. Galactic light year. Wait, so is a galactic light year any different from a regular light year? Prevents the sun from killing us. Yeah. Did anyone else see the aurora? When was that? That was just like a month or two ago, wasn't it? From the really bad solar storm. That was like a once in a lifetime event almost. Still trying to figure out how we have a spinning core on our flat Earth. Well, you see, there's two different disks, and there's one inside the big one, and that one spins. It's a donut. There's a really, really, oh man, I love Star Trek so much. There's such a good episode of Star Trek Voyager where they find a planet that is spinning really, really fast, and it's spinning so fast that they I think it's very high gravity too. I don't remember exactly what it is, but the basic idea is that time travels much quicker on the planet, and they send the Doctor down, which, if you don't know, the Doctor in Star Trek Voyager is a hologram, so he can basically never die. They send him down for like 10 seconds in their time, and it'll be like 2 years in their time, and he gets stuck down there, and he basically observes like the entire civilization going from like caveman period all the way to space bearing civilization. And it's such a good episode. I love Star Trek so much. Of course, it's a donut. How can I forget? It's been too bright here to see the auroras. Right, yeah. It's how much daylight do you get now, Gustian? Do you have 24 hours of daylight where you live? I want to read about the observable universe. It's a ball-shaped region of the universe. So this is the size of the observable universe. How big is the entire universe? Do we have any estimates for that? I guess there's just no really way to estimate. But I guess also we have presumably, at least we think, we have looked as far as we can really look, right? In the universe? In one direction, anyway? But again, that just doesn't make sense to me. Like, it doesn't comprehend, because how can we look in one direction and it be 13.7 billion light years, but that distance is more than 13.7 billion light years? This late into July, it starts getting fairly dark at night, but not dark enough to see things like that or many stars. It's too feeble to comprehend, but I want to comprehend it. Um, the electromagnetic radiation from these objects has had time to reach the solar system. The other thing, do we measure this? Like, are we the center of this? Because there's no way that like we are the. I mean, I guess it's possible, but it seems highly unlikely that we are just like smack dab in the middle of the universe. Like, you know, we probably like there or something. Second paragraph to yeah, okay, I guess I just need to keep reading. Initially it was estimated that there may be 2 trillion galaxies. Again, these numbers just, like, you know, it just doesn't, I can't comprehend that. And there's like 100 billion stars in a galaxy on average. In the observable universe, the number was reduced in 2021 to several hundred billion based on data of New Horizons. Assuming the universe is isotropic. Okay, I remember that word, but I don't remember exactly what it means. Oh, uniformity in all directions. Okay. Right. The distance to the... Which I don't feel like it is. I guess, I don't know. The distance to the edge of the observable universe is roughly the same in every direction. That is, the observable universe is a spherical region centered on the observer. Every location in the universe has its own observable universe. Okay. Which may or may not overlap with one centered on Earth. So we are the center of our observable universe, which makes sense. The word observable in this sense does not refer to the capability of modern technology to detect light or other information from an object, or whether there is anything to be detected. It refers to the physical limit created by the speed of light itself. No signal can travel faster than light, hence there is a maximum distance. Go away. Expansion of the universe. All right, we're going down the rabbit hole. Where was I? It refers to the physical limit created by the speed of light itself. No signal can travel faster than light. Hence, there is a maximum distance called the particle horizon, beyond which nothing can be detected, as signals could not have reached us yet. Yeah. Huh. Wait a second. So, if there's potentially light that has not reached us yet, what does that mean? Starfield 2 particle horizon. If there's light that has not reached us yet, then that means that I don't know what that means. That doesn't seem possible. Because again, like, then you would have a distance that's farther than time. Oh boy. Yeah, I know light has a finite speed. Particle horizon. The cosmic light horizon is the maximum distance from which light particles could have traveled to the observer in the age of the universe. Much like the concept of terrestrial horizon. What the heck is terrestrial horizon? This is the problem with Wikipedia. You just go down these rabbit holes of where you like click on something, start reading like, oh, what's that? Oh, okay. Read about that. Oh, what's that? Oh, this is just literally just horizon. Okay. Okay, well, we know what that is. It represents the boundary between the observable and unobservable regions of the universe. So its distance at the present epoch define the size of the observable universe. Due to the expansion of the universe, it is not simply the age of the universe times the speed of light, approximately 3.8 billion light years. So we think currently, our best guess is that the age of the universe is 13.8 billion light years. I mean, 13.8 billion years. So the way my mind thinks about that is like, okay, that means that the farthest anything could be away, but I know this is not right, but the farthest that anything could be away from us is 13.8 billion light years, because the speed of light, nothing can go faster, but that's obviously not true. But rather the speed of light times the conformal time. The existence, properties, and significance of cosmological horizon depend on the particular cosmological model. What is conformal time? The amount of time it would take a photon to travel from where we are located to the furthest observable distance, provided the universe ceased expanding. Oh, right. Okay, that's why things can go farther, because if I understand it right, the universe is expanding, which means that light can, or photons can go faster than the speed of light. I still don't really understand that. That's still really hard for me to understand. 5 days later. Age, not size. I know, but I don't fully understand how something can be, how there can be a greater distance than 13.8 billion light years when the speed of light is, you know, a set speed limit. I know, dark energy. Okay. I feel like that's just like an easy out, though. Oh, here we go. Conformal time and the particle horizon. In terms of moving distance, what is that? Oh boy. In standard cosmology, comoving, I don't know if I'm saying that right, comoving distance and proper distance are two closely related distance measures used by cosmologists to define distances between objects. Comoving distance factors out the expansion of the universe, giving a distance that does not change in time due to the expansion of space. Okay. I think maybe more so than dark energy, it's the expansion of the universe. Because the universe is expanding, it's like if I am walking 5 miles per hour down the road versus 5 miles per hour on a train. Well, now I'm moving 5 miles per hour plus, whatever the train is traveling. But again, I don't understand that. I'm sure we'll learn it here, but I don't understand that because, I was always taught, or I was always under the impression that nothing can go faster than the speed of light. So okay, go back to this example. I'm walking 5 miles per hour on the road. I turn a flashlight on. That light then immediately travels at 186,000 miles per second, the speed of light. I'm on a train. So I'm going, 80 miles per hour. I turn the light on. It doesn't go 186,000 miles per second plus 80 miles per hour. It just goes 186,000 miles per second. Universe expansion is caused by dark energy. Is everything caused by dark energy? What do we know about dark energy? Just universe expansion. Do you have any Wikipedia articles on that? I'd like to read about that. Okay. Fancy way of saying that we don't exactly know how things work. Yeah. Where was I? Okay. So right. Okay. Moving distance and proper distance are defined to be equal at the present time. At other times, the universe's expansion results in proper distance changing, while the comoving distance remains constant. What do we have here? Evolution of the universe and the horizons in comoving distance. The x-axis is distance in billions of light years. The left-hand y-axis... Hold on, I gotta look at this better here. Whoa. So I don't know what all these things are. Does it say? Oh, I already opened it. Expansion of the universe. Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll get to that. What are the variables up here? I don't know what those are. T is time, I'm assuming. Acceleration, maybe? I don't really understand this. The evolution of the universe and its horizons in moving distance. The x-axis is distance in billions of light years. The left-hand y-axis is time in billions of years since the Big Bang, and the right-hand y-axis is the scale factor. This model of the universe includes dark energy, which causes an accelerating expansion after a certain point in time and results in an event horizon beyond which we can never see. Wow, that's wild. Okay. Gracious, this stuff is complicated. Expansion of the universe is the increase in distance between gravitational unbound. What does that mean? Finding of the energy of a system is the minimum energy which must be added to it in order for the system to cease being in a gravitational bound state. Minimum energy. Okay. Gravitational bound system has a lower gravitational potential energy than a sum of the energies of its parts. When these are completely separated, this is what keeps the systems aggregated in accordance with the minimal total potential energy principle. Gracious, where are all these bots coming from? For a spherical body of uniform density, the gravitational binding energy U is given by this formula. U equals 3 times gravity times mass squared over 5 r radius. Wow. Who came up with this equation, I wonder? Assuming that Earth has a sphere of uniform density, which it is not, but is close enough to get an order of magnitude estimate, with mass equals 5.97 times 10 to the 24th kilograms, radius, and then gravity equal, or uniform density equals 2.24 times 10 to the 32nd. Gracious. Joules. That's a lot of energy. And that's just the Earth. This is roughly equal to 1 week of the sun's total energy. Oh man, this stuff is so wild. Wait, so the gravitational binding energy, am I understanding that right? That like the amount of energy, like the amount of possible energy in the Earth, if we can convert it, is equal to 1 week of the sun's total energy output? That's insane. But I feel like I'm not fully understanding that, because the famous Einstein equation, E equals mc squared, that's like the potential energy of mass for an object, right? And that would be much higher. No? If you could convert the amount of mass from the Earth into pure energy, you would calculate that with E equals mc squared, right? Right. And that's what I'm saying. So this is not that. So I don't really understand. I don't really understand what the gravitational binding energy is versus regular energy. Let me read this again. Is the minimum energy which must be added to it in order for the system to cease being in a gravitationally bound state. Oh, so does that basically just mean like that's how much energy is required to keep the Earth a circle, or a sphere, I should say? You were the only guy in your class to know what E equals mc squared meant. Okay, I think I understand what it's saying here. That there's a certain amount of mass. Like if you give anything a certain amount of mass, then it forms a sphere. And that's why, like, an asteroid, you can have an asteroid that is not a sphere, but if you had a big enough asteroid, it would eventually be a sphere because it would form itself because it has enough mass. And so I think if I'm understanding this right, they're saying that the gravitational binding energy is the minimum amount that it requires to keep that, like, bound together, essentially. It's still wild that that is only equal to 1 week of the sun's total output. non-uniform spheres. Planets and stars have a radial density gradients from their lower density surface to their much denser compressed cores. Degenerate matter objects, white dwarfs, neutron star pulsars, have radial density gradients plus relativistic corrections. Neutron star relativistic equations of state include a graph of radius versus mass for various models. Most likely, radii for a given neutron star mass are bracketed by models AP4 smallest radius and MS2 largest radius. Okay. Now we know what gravitational binding energy is. So we've gotten to here. Oh my goodness. Oh, I love this though. Okay, so the expansion of the universe is the increase in distance between the gravitational unbound part of the observable universe with time. It is an intrinsic expansion, so it does not mean that the universe expands into anything or that the space exists outside it. To any observer in the universe, it appears that all but the nearest galaxies, which are bound to each other by gravity, recede at speeds that are proportional to their distance from the observer on average. While objects cannot move faster than light, this limitation only applies with respect to local reference frames. It does not limit the recession rates of cosmologically distant objects. Cosmic expansion is a key feature of the Big Bang cosmology. It can be modeled mathematically with the Friedman, oh my goodness, something metric, where, yeah, I like this, the FLRW metric, where it corresponds. Wait, let's look at that just real quick. Starts with the assumption of homogeneity and isotropy of space. It also assumes that the spatial component of the metric can be time dependent. The generic metric that meets these conditions is all that. Yeah. Finish. Help. Oh my goodness. Okay. Where it corresponds to an increase in the scale of the spatial part of the universe's space-time metric tensor. What is that? In general relativity, the metric tensor is the context, often abbreviated to simply the metric, is the fundamental object of study. The metric captures all the geometric and causal structure of space-time, being used to define notions such as time, distance, volume, curvature, angle, and separation of future and the past. Oh my goodness gracious. Black holes. Black holes fascinate me. I am having fun. I absolutely love this. List of space-times? The list of well-known space-times in general relativity. General relativity space-time is described mathematically by a metric tensor on a smooth manifold, conventionally denoted as G or ds squared. This metric is sufficient to formulate the vacuum Einstein field equations. If matter is included, described by stress energy tensor, then one has the Einstein field equation with matter. Certain regions of spacetime, possibly the entire spacetime, one can describe points by a set of coordinates. In this case, the metric can be written down in terms of coordinates, or more precisely, the coordinate one forms and coordinates. During the course of the development of the field, general relativity, a number of explicit metrics have been found which satisfy Einstein field equations, a number of which are collected here. These model various phenomena in general relativity, such as possibly charged or rotating black holes, and cosmological models of the universe. On the other hand, some of the spacetimes are more for academic or pedagogical interest. I don't know what that word means. Related to teaching? Huh, okay. Interest rather than modeling physical phenomena. Pedagogy. I feel like I'm not saying that right. How do you say that?
Pedagogical.
Pedagogical. Gotcha. Is the absence of gravitation combines inertial spacetime and time manifolds into four-dimensional model. Maximally symmetric Lorentzian manifold, which can I don't know what in the world any of this means. Black hole spacetime. Okay, I know a little bit about this. Spherically symmetric. Oh boy, I'm getting lost again. Theory, what in the world are you talking about? I don't think Siri can understand it either. Alright, let's go back to this. Within this framework, the separation of objects over space-time over time is associated with the expansion of space itself. However, this is not generally covariant. Oh my goodness. But rather only a choice of coordinates. Contrary to common misconception, it is equally valid to adopt a description in which space does not expand and objects simply move apart while under the influence of their mutual gravity. Although cosmic expansion is often framed as a consequence of general relativity, it is also predicted by Newtonian gravity. According to the inflation theory, during the inflation epoch, about 10 to the minus 32nd of a second after the Big Bang. So basically at the Big Bang, the universe suddenly expanded and its volume increased by a factor of at least 10 to the 78. These numbers. Oh man, I mean... Oh goodness. I love this stuff. An expansion distance by a factor of at least 10 to the 26 in each of the three dimensions. This would be equivalent to expanding an object 1 nanometer across... Wait, so 10 to the negative 9 meter, about half a width of a molecule of DNA. So this would be equivalent to expanding an object 1 nanometer across to approximately 10.6 light years across. Oh my goodness. I can't. That number just, it doesn't comprehend. So you're saying at 10 to the minus 32nd of a second after the Big Bang, the universe suddenly went from 1 nanometer to just 10.6 light years across. That is wild. Cosmic expansion subsequently decelerated to a much slower rate until around 9.8 billion years after the Big Bang. 4 billion years ago. Oh, right. Okay. It's 13.8. I still feel like we're just saying that because, like, that's just our best guess now. It began to gradually expand more quickly and is still doing so. Physicists have postulated the existence of dark energy. Cite Deus Ex Nexus there, appearing as a cosmological constant in the simplest gravitational models as a way to explain this late time acceleration. According to the simplest extrapolation of the currently flavored cosmological model, the lambda CDM model, this acceleration becomes dominant in the future. Wow. That, I think this is what blows my mind the most right here. That 10 to the minus 32nd of a second. Like, so basically, like, Big Bang happens and it goes from 1 nanometer to 10.6 light years. Wow. Okay, so going back here, no signal can travel faster than light, hence there is a maximum distance called the particle horizon, beyond which nothing can be detected, as signals could not have reached us yet. Sometimes astrophysicists distinguish between the observable universe and the visible universe. The former includes signals since the end of the inflationary epoch, while the latter include only signals emitted since recombination. I'll read about dark energy here in a minute. According to calculations, the current comoving distance to particles from which the cosmic microwave background radiation was emitted, which represents the radius of the visible universe, is about 14 billion parsecs. Parsec is 3.3 light years, is that right? Yeah, 3.26 light years. The comoving distance to the edge of the observable universe is about 14.3 billion parsecs, or 46.6 billion light years, about 2% larger. The radius of the observable universe is therefore estimated to be 46.5 billion light years. Using the critical density and the diameter of the observable universe, the total mass of the ordinary matter in the universe can be calculated to be about 1.5 to the 1.5 times 10 to the 53rd kilogram. That's a lot of kilograms. In November 2018, astronomers reported extragalactic background light amounted to about 4 times 10 to the 84th. Man, these numbers. Photons. As the universe's expansion is accelerating, all currently observable objects outside the local supercluster will eventually appear to freeze in time while emitting progressively redder and fainter light, right? For instance, objects with current redshift Z from 5 to 10 will only be observable up to an age of 4 to 6 billion light years. In addition, light emitted by objects currently situated beyond a certain comoving distance, currently about 19 billion parsecs, will never reach Earth. That's really sad, isn't it? Oh, man. Okay. I feel like my voice is starting to fade. I'm also getting really sleepy. It's almost time for bed. But I want to read a little bit about dark energy. Dark energy is an unknown form of energy that affects the universe on a larger scale. Its primary effect is to drive the accelerating expansion of the universe, assuming the lambda CDM model of cosmology is correct. I mean, that's kind of a big assumption, but I guess that's the best guess we have right now. Dark energy is the dominant component of the universe. Yeah, I knew this, about 68%. I didn't know that exact number, but I knew it was more than 50%. Dark matter and ordinary matter contribute 26% and 5% respectively. The other components, such as neutrinos and photons, are nearly negligible. Dark energy's density is very low, 7 times 10 to the minus 30 grams per centimeter cubed, much less than the density of ordinary matter or dark energy within galaxies. We cannot observe, right? Yeah. It's kind of like how we can't observe a black hole, but we know it's there because it affects all the things around it. However, it dominates the universe's mass energy content because it's uniform across space. The first observational evidence for dark energy's existence came from measurements of supernovae. I really like to read about supernovas. Can't see air, but you know that is it's there when you move too fast. Yeah. Although, I mean, I guess we could technically see, we could see a molecule of air, but we couldn't see a molecule of dark energy. I think, if I understand it right. Type 1A supernova, or supernovae, is that how you say that? Have constant luminosity, which means that they can be used to as accurate distance measures. Comparing this distance to the redshift, which measures the speed, right, shows that the universe's expansion is accelerating. Prior to this observation, scientists thought that the gravitational attraction of matter and energy in the universe would cause the universe's expansion to slow over time. Since the discovery of accelerating expansion, several independent lines of evidence have been discovered that support existence of dark energy. The exact nature of dark energy remains a mystery, and explanations abound. The main candidates are cosmological constant, representing a constant energy density filling space homogenously, and scalar fields, dynamic quantities having energy densities that vary in time and space, such as I have a really hard time saying that. Cosmological constant would remain constant across time and space, while scalar fields can vary. Okay. Ooh, inflationary dark energy. Oh, man. Quintessence? Right. I'm getting very tired. I think I'm gonna take off. This is fascinating though. Oh, that's kind of a scary graph. It's so tiny. It's kind of scary to think about that. Like, all of that, we just have no idea what that is. Oh, wait. Oh, wow. Wait, no, I'm looking at this wrong. All of this we don't understand. We only understand this. That is crazy. But also super, super cool. Remind you to share your notes about the Drake equation with you later. Yeah, I'd love to read about that. All right, guys, I am going to take off. I'm getting sleepy. I will be back tomorrow. I'm very excited. We're going to be playing a brand new game called Gears of War. Don't know if you guys have heard of it. The new game just came out 2007, 2006. When did it come out? Yes. 2006. Wow. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to be playing that tomorrow. I'm going to start a little early. It's going to be 10 a.m. Central Time. Because I'm still on this wacky sleep schedule where I need to stay up a little bit longer, but I'm getting very sleepy. Anyway, I'm going to start tomorrow at 10 a.m. and we'll probably play for a few hours and should be a lot of fun. Thank you guys for hanging out. That was a lot of fun. Appreciate the distraction and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.